This season, where the unreachable was reached, we witnessed the 1998 Yankees win more games than ever before in the American League. But it's by winning the World Championship that a team's greatness is truly judged. And throughout baseball's history, the greatest teams haven't always worn the crown. The 1954 Indians rode an awesome rotation to a record 111 victories, but the Say Hey Kid and his Giants stole the show and swept the mighty Indians. Then in '69, the Baltimore Orioles won 109, but then fell victims to an amazing destiny. The 1998 Bombers won even more than 1927's Murderers Row, but they face a fearsome Texas Ranger force with one of baseball's ultimate Yankee killers, Juan Gonzalez. And for the Rangers, it's in Todd where they place their trust. For the Bombers, a man named Boomer makes his pitch for a piece of Yankee tradition and the house built by the Babe. Tonight, they play for keeps. Next, it's Game 1 of the American League Divisional Series on Fox.
Well, friends, something just feels right about opening the postseason right here at Yankee Stadium, where 23 World Championships have been won. But tonight, the Yankees play host to the red-hot Texas Rangers, the champions of the AL West. And the man of the hour is David Boomer Wells. He of the perfect game and a 3-0 record in 3 career division series starts. He'll go to the mound tonight for the New York Yankees in the house that Ruth built. Well, friends, the regular season is over, and now the real season and the fun begins. We're proud to present Game 1 of the AL Divisional Series between the Texas Rangers and the New York Yankees. Hi again, everybody. I'm Chip Carey, joined by my partner, Steve Psycho Lyons. And partner, how about those Yankees? 114 wins, but you know those fans in New York, if they don't get 11 more, they're going to say, forget about it. What a terrible year.
Absolutely. You can wipe those 114 wins right off the board right now because there's a tremendous amount of pressure on the Yankees to win the World Series because of that. If the Cleveland Indians win 114 games and they don't win the World Series, it's a little bit of a disappointment. But because it's New York, it's a huge problem. And I'll tell you this. In the decade of the 90s, not one team who had the best record going into the World Series has ever won it.
So Yankees certainly have their work cut out for them, and they will start tonight against the Texas Rangers. How about those Chicago Cubs? That'll teach you for playing with black cats.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to happy that they're in. Braves. They went to an extra game against the San Francisco Giants. We'll have Game 2 of the Braves and the Cubs series. It'll be Tom Glavine against Kevin Tampany in that ball game. Today's play. What a day for Mo Vaughn in Game 1 against the Indians. He single-handedly crushed the Clevelanders.
Yeah, that's one thing that Cleveland should not have let happen. There's 2 guys in that lineup that can beat you. Mo Vaughn, Nomar Garcia-Parra. The Indians are in serious, serious trouble.
Mo Vaughn, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Pedro Martinez was scintillating. The Red Sox lead that best of 5 series, 1-0. Tony Gwynn may have re-aggravated that left Achilles tendon, did not finish Game 1 of the Padres-Astros series. Kevin Brown, 16 strikeouts. Randy Johnson, equally as tough, made a mistake to Greg Vaughn, who had a 50-home run year for the Padres. That made it 2-0 in the 8th inning. In the 9th, Trevor Hoffman came on despite Brown's heroics, saved the ball game, gave up an unearned run, and the Padres shocked the Astros 2-1. They lead that series 1-0. Mo Vaughn and Boston in front by a game. And how about the decision by Bruce Bochy? 16 Brown strikeouts. He goes to his closer, Trevor Hoffman.
Well, that's the way they do it all the time now. But I got to tell you, if I'm an Astro player and I'm sitting on that bench and I watch Kevin Brown dominate me like the way he did for 8 innings, 16 strikeouts, he only gave up 2 hits all day long. I don't care if your closer is God. I'd rather see him than Kevin Brown at that time. Now, the reason that the managers do it, because if you leave Brown in the game and he blows it, then it's on you as the manager. But if you bring in your closer like you're supposed to in the 9th inning and he blows it, then it's the closer's fault. So all the managers want to do is save their own skin.
All I know is I'm on God's side. God's going to be perfect in the 9th inning.
Well, that's what they've been calling Trevor Hoffman, too.
I think he's only blown 1 save all year. Well, tonight, a family affair in New York for the Stottlemeyers. As for Todd, going to see his dad's work meant going to Yankee Stadium. It's a time Todd fondly remembers.
My memories of Yankee Stadium were as a playground. All the times in the clubhouse, out on the field during BP, the family days, and you know, I look back and just, you know, I really cherish those moments, and they're real special to me, and especially knowing how demanding this game can be on and off the field, and knowing that Dad always took time to make sure that he took as much time as he could with us when the Yankees were at home, and look back on those days, and those are special days.
And another special night tonight for Todd and Mel Stottlemyre. Time now for psychoanalysis. And Steve, let's talk about the starters tonight. Todd Stottlemyre came over from the Cardinals, started slowly, but boy, he pitched two great big games for Texas against Anaheim.
Yeah, you thought Texas might be a really, really good team when they made all those deals. Stottlemyre was the headliner. He started off a little bit slow. He had trouble getting guys out early on. He ended with a 5-4 record for the Texas Rangers. There you see him pitching against the Yankees early on. Settled down very nicely. Ended up being a very good big game pitcher for them down the stretch. In his last 15 innings, he only gave up 1 run, and that was against the Angels and against teams that they had to have big games out of him down the stretch trying to get into the playoffs.
The starter, Stottlemyre, will be opposed by tonight David Wells, and it's so ironic. The game that might have been the impetus for his perfect game in big season also came against Texas.
Right, early on in the year, he gave up 7 runs in a little over 2 innings. He had a 9-run lead at the time. They had to yank him out of the game. And I'll tell you what, Joe Torre did something that he rarely does. He got in his face and he said, I'm tired of your crap. I think that you're a little bit too nonchalant out there. I want to see you working a little bit harder. 2 starts later was the perfect game. He's 15-3 since that point. And I'll tell you what, he is a big game pitcher for that team right now.
He's been a supersonic boomer, Wells, for that New York ball club. Keys elsewhere in this series, in this game tonight. Texas's offense really clicking right now, and they clicked against Wells this year.
They've come in very hot. I'll tell you what, they have a great offense, especially from the right side. They hit .316 against lefties, and you can stick your speed in your back pocket if you're the Yankees, because Pudge Rodriguez is behind the plate.
All right, we're ready to have some fun. Coming up after a break, it's game 1 between the Rangers and the Yankees. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver will have the call from the Bronx when we return after this timeout here on Fox.
Welcome to historic Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. They've been playing baseball here since 1923. And tonight, AL Division Series Game 1, the Texas Rangers and the New York Yankees. Out beyond the wall here at Yankee Stadium, Monument Park, detailing the rich tradition and history of this great franchise here in New York. And I welcome you to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Tim McCarver will join me in just a moment, but not before we run through 1998 and detail exactly what the Yankees accomplished this season. 114 victories, the most in the history of the American League, dominating just about every category in the AL this season. Yet one thing that scares the heck out of people around here is this graphic. Since 1990, no team who has had the best overall record in the major leagues has gone on to win the World Series. And I welcome in my partner, Tim McCarver. Now, that graphic, coupled with the fact that the Yankees, for the most part, haven't been involved in a crucial game or series since last year's division series, which they lost to the Cleveland Indians, is a little scary around here.
And I think, Joe, that the Yankees learned a lot from last year's division series. And the one main thing that they learned, that the shorter the series, the better your pitching's got to be. And nobody knows that any better than Joe Torre.
If we don't pitch, Texas will beat your brains out. I mean, you get that big guy in right field up there with a couple of men on base, and you leave a ball out over the plate or wherever and I'm trying to figure out where he doesn't like to hit it. He hits them all over the place, and he makes it look so easy. He did against us in '96. But we need to pitch, and you know, you hang your hat on it. You say you can't put your eggs in one basket. Yes, we can.
Joe Torre has a big basket and a lot of big game pitchers with whom to work. And keep in mind that Chad Curtis is in left field tonight because good defense supports good pitching.
Well, facing that #1 pitching staff in the American League is a pretty doggone good middle of the lineup for the Texas Rangers, and you can stack this middle of the lineup up against any lineup in baseball.
And the guy at the top of the stack, Juan Gonzalez, with 157 RBIs. The Texas offense has been likened to a sluggish heavyweight. They don't have a lot of speed, but they can stand toe-to-toe and thump you all night long.
People keep talking about 2 seasons around here. First season's over, folks. It's playoff time in Major League Baseball. The second season begins here tonight on Fox for the Yankees and the Texas Rangers. We'll come back with the first pitch and the starting lineups of this game right after this word.
'98 American League Division Series on Fox is brought to you by the new Silverado, the truck from Chevrolet, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks. By Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. And by MasterCard, official card of Major League Baseball and fan of the great American pastime.
Welcome back to Yankee Stadium here in the Bronx. The Yankees getting ready to take the field. And here they come. 114 victories in the regular season, the most in the history of the American League. And they enter to a standing ovation here at the stadium. It has been an incredibly exciting season around here in New York, but as Steve Lyons mentioned, you can throw the 114 victories off the table. The second season begins tonight. The starting lineup for the Texas Rangers. They lead off with Mark McLemore at second base, Roberto Kelly batting second and center, Rusty Greer, a very good number 3 hitter in left, with Juan Gonzalez. He with 157 runs batted in this year. Will Clark backs him up at first base with Ivan Rodriguez catching. Todd Zeile at third base with Mike Sims, the DH. Royce Clayton is batting ninth at short. A look at the Yankees defense. Defensively, 98 errors on the year. Third best in the American League are the Yankees. And Chad Curtis gets the chance to start in left field. Put the good defense behind the left-hander David Wells, who's on the mound tonight for the New York Yankees.
There is Chad Curtis, an excellent left fielder. As a matter of fact, Joe Torre saying that you really need a center fielder to play left field here in Yankee Stadium. It is so cavernous. David Wells, 18-4, of course, with the perfect game back on May 17th. A couple of years ago, the Yankees had a decision to make. Do you re-sign Jimmy Key, who's now with Baltimore, or sign David Wells? Well, as you can see, they made the right choice. He controls both sides of the plate with his fastball, a very good curveball, and a good circle changeup. He is 27-7 lifetime in this ballpark with a 3.30 ERA.
And 11-1 at the stadium in 1998, which includes this. May 17th against the Minnesota Twins. Here's the final out. Pat Mears, the fly ball to right, and there it is, the perfect game for David Wells. Just one of the many storylines that floated throughout the 1998 regular season, a season that none of us will ever forget, with McGuire and Sosa, with the Yankees as a team, with David Wells as an individual, Juan Gonzalez, all that he has done, Barry Bonds, the 400 club. The list goes on and on and on. This broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Glad you're with us on Fox as McLemore digs in to try to get it started the right way for Texas. Many Rangers and their fans will tell you McLemore is the igniter in this lineup, although he has been bothered by bad knees. A deep breath for Wells, and away we go. A little high for ball one. The numbers for McLemore, they are down. Involved in his second postseason series, the other being in 1996 when these two teams hooked up in the division series, 1 in 4 games by New York, 2-0. The home plate umpire, Jim Joyce, with Durwood Merrill at first, Rich Garcia at second, Tim Sheeta over at third base, Drew Coble in left field, and Terry Kraft down the right field line. The 2-0 to McLemore. There's a strike, 2-1.
You notice how the catcher, Jorge Posada, moved inside to the right-hander. A lot of times when a pitcher is wild, high and away, a catcher will sit inside and by that target bring the left-hander down in the strike zone. That's what Posada did with Wells then.
Behind in the count, Wells gets further behind, 3-1, and you can understand these pitches have been high as the adrenaline is high running through David Wells. Not surprising that he has missed up. And make no mistake about it, the Yankees with their 114 victories have an enormous amount of pressure on them to perform in the postseason. Wells and the Yankees want to know where that pitch missed. Wells shakes his head as he gets it back from Posada, and it's a leadoff walk to Mark McLemore.
I'll tell you how rare this walk is. Since David Wells' perfect game, he has walked one batter to lead off an inning in his last 166 innings, and here, unbelievably, he walks McLemore to open the ball game.
That'll bring in the former Yankee Roberto Kelly. He gets the start tonight against David Wells. A .323 hitter with 16 home runs, is a part-timer for Johnny Oates this season.
I
A check on McLemore, who with the bad knees might do very little running in this series. Not to say they won't start the runners, but we talked to Johnny Oates, and he admitted, look, we are pretty much a station-to-station club, and we wait around for the home run ball. Good breaking ball from Wells for strike one.
First curveball of the ball game by David. Great rotation, tightly wrapped, do drop in.
And a key pitch for David Wells. Be able to spot that breaking ball. And he got it in for a strike after falling behind the leadoff hitter and eventually walking McLemore. The 0-1 to Kelly. A little squirter on the changeup. Wells makes the play out at first, but down to second. McLemore in scoring position for Greer and Gonzalez.
Number 29, Rusty Greer.
Now Rusty Greer walks in with 108 runs batted in. And you know how rumors fly around baseball. Well, at the trading deadline, the rumors were flying around that the Texas Rangers could end up with Roger Clemens if they were willing to part with Rusty Greer, among others. And the decision was made they would stick with Greer, who is another heart and soul player of this Texas Ranger team. Strike over the outside corner from Wells.
You mentioned all the highlights in the '98 season. Roger Clemens did not lose a game in his last 22 starts, over which time Sammy Sosa hit 50 home runs. Unbelievable.
Put a list together that would never end.
No.
Nothing in one to count, and Greer takes it just low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. And of course the regular season culminating with last night's victory in the 1-game playoff for the wild card between the Cubs and the Giants. The game won by the Chicago Cubs, and they earned the right to go to Atlanta to take on the Braves. Here's the 1-1 to Greer. Wells falls behind again, 2-1. That is the incentive to get Greer and try to limit the damage here before Juan Gonzalez bats in the first inning.
Yeah, that guy on deck's that big guy Joe Torre was talking about before the game in that soundbite.
2 balls and a strike on Rusty Greer. Out of play, 2-2. And now this Yankee Stadium crowd starts to come alive as they hope for Wells' first strikeout. They wanted it on that pitch, didn't get it, low and away, and a full count on Rusty Greer.
Posada sitting outside, Wells going outside, and it was outside.
So now a full count on Greer with a runner at second, 1 out, just underway in the first inning. Two out.
Big pitches come early, and that was a big pitch by David Wells. A little breathing room and facing Juan Gonzalez now as he strikes out Greer on an outside fastball.
The way this series sets up, for obvious reasons, because of the season for the Yankees, because the Rangers have the fewest wins among teams in the postseason in the American League, people seem to be putting out there that the Rangers have no chance in this series, and I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either. Neither do the Yankees.
Runner at second, 2 out, and Gonzalez, that's a fair ball. And that's the end of the top of the first. How about that? You talk about 157 RBIs. You talk about all the power of anybody in the game. And he hits a 2-foot ground ball to end the inning. No score after a half.
Vision Series on Fox is brought to you by new Advil Liquid Gels. Pain relief at the speed of liquid.
Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. David Wells got around a leadoff walk. A look at the lineup for the New York Yankees. Joe Torre put it together this way with Chuck Knobloch leading off at second. Derek Jeter batting second at short. He's had a great year. Paul O'Neill hitting third and right. Bernie Williams, the American League hit leader, as he ends with an average of .339 to win the batting title in the American League. Tino Martinez is at first base. Chili Davis, the DH. Jorge Posada is the catcher with Chad Curtis in left, and Scott Brocious hitting ninth at third base. A look at the Rangers defense, which committed 121 errors during the regular season, but you always highlight the six-time Gold Glover behind the plate, Ivan Rodriguez. So good in throwing out runners. And a guy who's on the mound throwing against the New York Yankees is right-hander Todd Stottlemyre.
Todd Stottlemyre, as far as his season is concerned, says that he was great for 3 months with the Cardinals, then bad for 6 weeks, and then rediscovered his curveball. Fastball, curveball, slider in that order of importance from Mel's son, Todd.
Pitching in front of his father, who is the pitching coach for Joe Torre and the Yankees, and a strike. We happen to be here earlier in the season, just after Texas picked up Todd Stottlemyre. 15th of August. And Stottlemyre struggled in the first inning, eventually got the victory, but was, as he hits Chuck Knobloch to start the night, it was not a typical start for Stottlemyre. And he said he was more nervous in that game than he had ever been in any start in his career. And here tonight, he hits the leadoff man, Knobloch.
After the strike, right on the left arm, and from catcher cam, Ivan Rodriguez wearing catcher cam. You folks at home, an idea about what it feels like to get smoked in the arm with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Hit by a pitch 18 times during the regular season, leading the American League, and now he's had one at bat, and he's got a bruise for the postseason. Here's Derek Jeter. 203 hits during the regular season for Derek Jeter, who is in his third full year in the big league. Strike one from Stottlemyre.
Best 1-2 punch in baseball, Knobloch and Jeter. Every rally that the Yankees have where they score multiple runs, right in the middle of it is Derek Jeter.
Well, you've got Knobloch, who scored 117 runs, fifth in the American League. And then Jeter, who scored 127, first in the American League. That's into center for Roberto Kelly. Knobloch is tagging, but will stay put. Kelly was ready to throw, 1 on, 1 out. And we look at the right-hander Todd Stottlemyre, who was 5-4, but really a big game pitcher for the Rangers down the stretch when they needed it against Anaheim.
He beat Anaheim twice in the last 5 times that the Rangers met them. That killer slider, but the improved curveball, and that more than anything else is the reason for Todd's success with Texas. Pretty good change, an occasional splitter, learned to channel his emotions into his pitches and instead of outside the line. It's a common problem as you look at Gene Stottlemyre, Todd's mother, on the right of your screen.
She said she was so nervous and felt so out of place rooting for Todd when he was here earlier in the regular season. She had to change sections and go sit over in the Texas section. First pitch is a ball to O'Neill, and there is Todd's wife Sherry on Gene's right, as those two will be sweating through a Todd Stottlemyre start here tonight. Of course, Todd's father Mel starred here with the Yankees, a 3-time 20-game winner. The opposite way and down the line into left. Knobloch will head to third. Greer trying to dig it out, plays it cleanly. Here's Knobloch to the plate. The throw home. Got him. 2 out. As Clayton made the relay throw, it went Greer to Clayton to Rodriguez. A delayed call at the plate to make sure, and a big defensive play for the Rangers here in the first inning.
You do not have to have a strong outfield arm, but an accurate outfield arm to execute hitting the cutoff man. O'Neill with a double. Watch Rusty Greer to Clayton. Rodriguez with a perfect block of home, and Knobloch actually slid early and tried to go over Rodriguez and touch home plate with his hand.
Jean Stottlemyre, Todd's mom, reacting as her husband's team just lost a runner at the plate. And now with a runner at second, 2 out, Bernie Williams digs in. I'll tell you, I was a bit surprised that they sent Knobloch.
I wasn't, because it took a perfect relay throw from Rusty Greer, a perfect relay throw from Clayton, and a perfect block of home, and that's not a perfect play.
Rodriguez was crossed up.
That is a cross-up right there. Major league cross-up.
And now O'Neill at third, and we'll see how they score that. As you can see, obviously, Ivan Rodriguez thought he was getting something that he didn't.
Looking for the express, and he got the local. Here's the play at the plate. Rusty Greer, cautious, right to Clayton. Clayton to Rodriguez, and a perfect block of home. And Knobloch sliding prematurely and trying to go over Rodriguez, and that from catcher cam. We've seen Knobloch hit by catcher cam, and now we see a block of home with Rodriguez, of course, wearing the mask. A lot of stuff's happening, partner.
We're just getting started here.
Yeah.
Catch our breath. Runner at third, 2 out, and it is ruled a pass ball as Ivan Rodriguez and Todd Stottlemyre were crossed up. And now Bernie Williams waits for the 1-0 pitch with a runner at third, 2 out. High 2-0. The only reason why I was a little surprised just to go back is because of the man at the plate. Bernie Williams, good contact man, a guy who led the American League with a .339 average, drove in 97. The Yankees lose Knobloch at the plate. What an emotional lift for the Rangers if they can get out of this inning without being scored upon. Low 3-0, and it looks like Tino Martinez might get a chance. He waits on deck. You look at the division series numbers for Bernie Williams, and he holds a lot of all-time records, but the division series hasn't been around that long. He hit 3 home runs in the division series 2 years ago against Texas, has 5 overall. A strength to make it 3-1.
When a guy is setting on a fastball, as Bernie was then, probably hitting, you try to keep the fastball away. That ball shredding the outside corner.
So Stottlemyre not willing to pitch around Williams. At least on 3-0 he came with a strike. And now time called at the plate by home plate umpire Jim Joyce.
Now the one thing you don't like to do is pitch around the hitters early, regardless of their prowess, because if you put them on, a big inning more likely to happen.
He puts him on. A hit batsman, a single, make it a double. A man lost at the plate, and now a walk. A pass ball mixed in, and it's up to Tino Martinez if the Yankees are going to score here in the first inning. Good solid numbers for Tino Martinez as he fits nicely into the middle of this order for Joe Torre. We talked about the middle of the Rangers lineup, the combination, really the top 6 for the Yankees. Very deep, very versatile, very productive. A breaking ball from Stottlemyre to make it 0-1.
Yeah, that's that curveball that Todd said in late August. He was warming up in the bullpen, and he looked down to the side. He said, hey, I'm on the side of my curveball. He just simply rotated his hand to the left, and he's been on top of the curve ever since.
Martinez fouls it back and out of play. Strike 2.
And most teams are not used to facing Todd Stottlemyre with that type of breaking ball.
Our first shot of Joe Torre and Don Zimmer in the postseason. Many more to come. First and third, 2 out, 0-2 the count. And a good pickup by Ivan Rodriguez, saved a run.
Boy, he is like a cat back there. I don't think I've ever seen a catcher as agile as Ivan Rodriguez behind the plate. Talk about guys who block balls, he catches them.
Is it the footwork that's so
quick
spectacular?
Feet, absolutely. Quicker feet than Fred Astaire.
A ball and 2 strikes. Tino Martinez took strike 3. And Stottlemyre gets around a hit batsman, a double, a walk. The Yankees lose a man at the plate. 1 inning complete. Rangers and Yankees, no score.
First baseman of the Rangers, Will Clark, comes into your picture as the setup man as Chuck Knobloch comes into your living room or dining room or den.
Courtesy of Catcher Cam, and I think it's safe to say Ivan didn't keep the mask on for our sake.
No.
But he kept the mask on with a play at the plate, which you don't always see. Will Clark leads off. To start the second, he takes a strike.
You don't always see, Joe, and I don't agree with. I think catchers have a better view of the runner coming in, particularly, of course, that was from left field, but particularly when you're receiving the ball from right field. Leave that mask on. Sometimes you risk a worse injury.
0-1 the count. Clark, who has a broken toe, takes a strike over the inside corner. Will Clark on his right foot broke his big toe, fouling off a Julio Santana pitch on September 12th. He re-aggravated it last Thursday. Yet in the lineup nonetheless. One of the tougher players still in the game as he takes ball 1 low and away. Will Clark did not fare well. The 1996 Division Series against the Yankees was only 2 out of 16. Still 1-2.
However, that's certainly not a gauge of his postseason performances. Back in 1987, as the first baseman for the Giants, he hit .360 in league championship play. And then against the Cubs in 1989, he was 13 for 20, a .650 average, and MVP of that series.
You can see he's found that home run stroke again.
Yeah. As
Will Clark is at the most home runs since 1991 with his 23 in 1998.
A guy like Clark going through those years, he'll never tell you that he's injured. Never make any excuses. You got to figure the guy falling off that much, a real professional hitter like Clark, something had to be wrong with him for those 2 years.
That's off the plate to the right side, and it stays fair. Tino Martinez picks it up, steps on the bag, 1 away as Clark is retired to start the second.
We have had 3 odd outs already. Roberto Kelly with a ball back to the pitcher, and then Juan Gonzalez with a ball that was hit 2 feet from home plate, and Will Clark with a ball hit about 30 feet down the first baseline. Those are odd outs for a booming offense like Texas.
Here's Ivan Rodriguez, a .321 hitter.
That ball looked like it hit and came back toward the middle of the field.
It's rare to see a ball bounce there and kick back into play. Normally you see that thing head out of play with a kind of spin.
Yeah.
It's normally put on it.
Yeah, when a left-hander hooks a ball down the line like that.
Who are we to tangle with the laws of physics, gravity? If gravity plays a part in this.
We can tangle with the laws of infield hops, though.
There you go. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ivan Rodriguez, 8th in the American League with that .321 average. There's a 20-game winner. 9 seasons in between 20-win seasons for David Cone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now 1-2. Jim Cott went 7 seasons between 20-win years. That was the former record, and then David Cone in his last start of 1998 won his 20th to better the mark set by a guy who could very well be in the Hall of Fame, Jim Cott.
Absolutely, a winner of 20 games for the Twins in '66, and then in 1973 with the Chicago Cubs, or Chicago White Sox.
1 out, nobody on. Rodriguez grounds to third. Foul ball. Well, get ready for this. I don't know that women and children should see this, but earlier this season, David Wells at Shea Stadium during the Subway Series caught up with a Babe Ruth impersonator. Wells posed for pictures. He is the one thing about David Wells that we do know is that he is a big history buff huge. The game of baseball. To the point where it's cost him some money. Buying a Babe Ruth hat for
$35,000. Yep.
a ball and 2 strikes. Rodriguez is gone. Second strikeout for David Wells.
A lot of times it's not the pitch on which you strike a hitter out. It's how you get there. There's the fastball. Change up. Fastball tight. And now the curveball tapped foul. Finishing him off with the fastball inside. So bookend fastballs. Devon Rodriguez gets it.
Rodriguez the second out, and Todd Zeile walks in. Another trading deadline pickup by Doug Melvin, who did a terrific job,
I'll say,
for the Texas Rangers, shaping this team for the stretch and helping them to get into the postseason. 1 ball, 1 strike. Todd Zeile was stunned when he was traded by the Dodgers from Los Angeles, from the LA area, played at UCLA. Signed with the hometown Dodgers, second year of a 3-year contract. He gets traded with Mike Piazza. Ends up in Florida, waits until the trading deadline, and Zeile joined Clayton, Stottlemyre, and before those 3, Esteban Loaiza. And joining the Rangers, see what that group, along with the regulars, have done since August 1st. Zeile strikes out. Back-to-back for Wells. 3 on the night, and we move to the bottom of the second in Game 1. Texas and New York. No score. One of the remaining old jewels in the game of baseball below the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. At the controls, Captain Dick Esch from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They will provide us with aerial shots all night as Chili Davis takes a strike over the outside corner. And in a scoreless game, we're underway in the bottom of the second. Posada and Curtis will follow against Todd Stottlemyre, who was helped by his defense in the first. One ball, 1 strike. Darryl Strawberry has been bothered by intestinal problem, bothered by a bad stomach, and he is not in the starting lineup tonight, although he says the bad stomach doesn't limit him playing the game of baseball. Joe Torre made the decision to go with Chad Curtis, who will bat in this inning for defensive reasons behind David Wells, which raised a few eyebrows around here. A 1-1 to Chili Davis. Good pitch up and in, strike 2.
Well, that's what you have to do to Chili Davis. You have to raise his eyebrows, because he is one of the more notorious low ball hitters in the game. Pitchers try to crowd him, and you do not throw a breaking ball in the strike zone. Repeat, do not throw an off-speed pitch in the strike zone to Chili Davis. He rarely misses it.
As evidenced by those numbers and what he has done as a DH. That's backing out of play, still 1-2, and they're keeping it in on Chili Davis. Posada will hit next, and then Curtis. Anybody gets on, I would dare say one of the best number 9 hitters going. Brocious, who hit 300 and drove in 98. Scott, what a bounce back from a year ago in Oakland when he hit only 203. Davis did not swing, checked his swing, according to Tim Sheeta, and the count 2-2.
That was close to going around by Chili Davis, but he held up. Close.
Chili Davis leading off from catcher cam. It missed low and away, and Rodriguez dropped it. 3-2 now. Chili Davis missed most of the 1998 regular season. Torn ligaments in his right elbow. Worked his way back, then had a muscle pull in his side. He had to prove to Joe Torre that he was okay to swing the bat left-handed. He did. Here he is, and see you later, Chili. 1 away. Back-to-back strikeouts for Stottlemyre, and standing by is our other partner in tonight's game, Kurt Menefee, who is with Todd's mom and Mel's wife.
That's right. We are with Jean Stottlemyre, wife of Yankee pitching coach Mel and mother of Todd. I watch you, and you're like going through all the motions here. This has to be driving you crazy, this game.
It is, especially sit beside Yankee wives and rooting for my son.
How is it? You've got Todd's wife, Sherry, sitting here beside you. Is she pulling you over to the Ranger side?
Nah, we're both just rooting for Todd.
Who gets the first hug after the game?
We'll both get it.
All right, guys. Well, I tell you, she's got the sons here. She's got the sister-in-law here. Everybody here in this family affair except Buffy and Jody, I do believe.
Thank you, Kurt. 1 out, nobody on. Strike one, the call on Jorge Posada. 5 consecutive starts Stottlemyre has won here at Yankee Stadium. It's the best streak going right now in the American League, including that shaky start here during the regular season when he came back to the American League. And again, it was the first time that he was competing in the same stadium in which his father was sitting. Normally it's been a long distance affair between these two, with Mel through scoreboard watching and telephone calls keeping up with Todd.
And in that game, the Yankees scored 4 runs in the bottom of the first inning, and Texas won the game 16-5 to make Todd Stottlemyre marvel at how explosive this Texas lineup is. He said they score faster than any team he's ever been on. And remember, he was traded from the Cardinals and Mark McGwire on July 31st.
Cardinals, who led the National League in home runs, and Mark McGwire with 70. Did he hit any today, McGwire?
I haven't heard yet.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on, and Posada takes ball 3, 3-2. Johnny Oates didn't seem to hesitate when he named Todd Stottlemyre as his starter for tonight's game. Game 1, so important, especially in a short series. That's into the Texas dugout.
Johnny Oates telling us before the game, there's John Burkett. He'll go on game 4 if there is one. Rick Helling, who won 20 games, he was 20-7, scheduled to start tomorrow night, and Johnny did not hesitate. He said Todd Stottlemyre, a big game pitcher in this ballpark in front of these fans, he's the guy I go with.
This 3-2 pitch misses outside, and it's the second walk handed out by Todd Stottlemyre. That'll bring in Chad Curtis, and that'll bring video for you of Chad Curtis's first major league home run with the Angels against Toronto, against Todd Stottlemyre, May 9th, 1992. First major league home run in the then young career of Chad Curtis, and off the then young right-hander Todd Stottlemyre. And here they meet. Different uniforms and a lot more on the line.
Toronto Blue Jays world champions that year.
1 on, 1 out, and Curtis takes a slider for a strike. The numbers for Chad, and he really struggled, kind of stumbled to the finish line. Yet he got the start here tonight in game 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
2 sliders in a row to Chad Curtis. There is no more descriptive pitch in baseball. Watch how the pitch slides parallel to the ground. That's a killer slider we were talking about in the scouting report of Todd Stottlemyre.
Curtis into right field, slicing away from Gonzalez. Can't get it. Up against the wall. Posada digs for third. They will hold him there. The Yankees have already lost 1 at the plate tonight, and it's second and third, 1 out for New York in the second.
And the best way to hit the slider is to go with it and not try to pull it. Watch Chad Curtis's approach right here. He doesn't try to pull it. He slices it down the right field line. The ball going away from Juan Gonzalez. I think Juan got a glove on it. Yep, just the webbing. And the Yankees threatening once again. Good hitting by Chad Curtis.
3 consecutive sliders and a double off the bat of Curtis, and now second and third, 1 out for Brocious. Out of play, strike 1. Mentioned already, Brocious a 300 average, 98 RBIs, 19 home runs. A lot of American League managers talk about the importance of a number 9 hitter to get the game back to the top of the lineup. Who was better at that than Scott Brocious? One ball, 1 strike. Runners are at second and third with 1 out. And in this situation this season, Brocious hit .438. Drove in 40 of his 98 runs. The opposite way and through. Posada scores. They hold Curtis at third. Good low throw from Gonzalez. And it's 1-0 Yankees in the second.
If you could take a video and show it to young little leaguers on how to hit and show the swing from Chad Curtis and Scott Brocious on those last 2 base hits, going the other way, not trying to pull the ball, using the opposite field.
So both go to the right side. Started with a walk. Dick Bosman, the pitching coach, out to visit with Stottlemyre. And the Yankees score first here in game 1. Now it's Curtis at third. Brocious across the way. Posada's already home. Back to the top of the order, Chuck Knobloch. Inside for ball 1.
The infield playing in double play depth up the middle, but you'll notice the third baseman, Todd Zeal, and of course the first baseman, Will Clark, holding the runner on. If a ball is chopped toward third or toward first, they may elect to come home to get the runner instead of going for the double play.
High heat from Stottlemyre, and Knobloch couldn't catch up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
High heat.
Rodriguez stabbed it. 1 ball, 1 strike. First and third, 1 out. Sidearm and a foul, backing out of play.
Yeah, that's what Todd tried to do with Scott Brocious, and Scott did not budge that front side, staying in there and singling in the first run of the ball game. Stottlemyre dropping down to Knobloch, and those right-handers are not giving.
Stottlemyre on 1 and 2. Knobloch spoiled a good pitch. Gets tougher and tougher as Stottlemyre goes through this lineup. Knobloch drove in 64 runs, a decent total for a leadoff man. Hit just .265 though during the regular season. An un-Knobloch type year for Chuck. 2 and 2. Stottlemyre is one of those starting pitchers who, when he needs a strikeout, has the ability to get it. The 2-2. Just low. 3 and 2. Curtis a big double in this inning. The runner at third with Brocious at first.
I think you've got to send Scott Brocious right here. You have a contact hitter up at the plate. That could change where the infielders go with the ball. They may come home.
Runner does go. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Now the run will score. The Yankees take a 2-0 lead. As the Yankees started Brocious, he stopped halfway down. Curtis came to the plate and scored to make it 2-0. After 2, back with more after this from your home for the '98 World Series. David Wells goes back to work. His teammates have picked up 2 runs for him. Wells got around a first inning leadoff walk to McLemore. He's retired 6 in a row since then, and will work to Sims, Clayton, and McLemore here in the 3rd.
The Yankees showing once again that they do not need the long ball to beat you. They can beat you with the very, very small good things in the game that need to be executed to win.
One of the small scoring rulings that needs to be passed along is Chad Curtis was not credited with a steal of home. In case you're wondering, scored on a fielder's choice to make it 2-0 as Brocious was hung up between first and second. Breaking ball is low. 1 ball, 1 strike on Mike Sims.
What happens on that play is the catcher tries to look the runner back to third base with the runner going. Todd Stottlemyre got the strikeout, but then Ivan Rodriguez looked him back, and the minute he threw the ball, Curtis took off. And what happens with that runner on third base, usually he starts outside the line. But if he's going home, he moves into the line, and when the catcher looks to third, he can't tell how far away from third base he is.
One and 2 on Sims. Mike Sims is in his first postseason action. Royce Clayton waits on deck, the number 9 hitter for Johnny Oates. Sims popped 16 home runs during the regular season. He is the DH tonight. Now the 1-2. Back up the middle, and Wells in self-defense comes up with it, 1 away.
Here's what we're talking about. Runners on at first and third. Chad Curtis, the runner on at third. He takes his lead outside the third baseline and moves in a couple of steps so that Rodriguez, when looking to third base, can't tell how far he is from third. Curtis breaks immediately when Rodriguez throws, and the Yankees exchange an out for a run. Very well executed by Chad Curtis.
And isn't this the way so many decisions have gone for Joe Torre? I mean,
that's because you execute it right. You do the right things, things go your way.
Joe Torre puts Chad Curtis in the lineup for defense. And lo and behold, he comes up with a double, scores on that base running play, a very good base running play. People were wondering, well, why not Strawberry? Why not Raines? Why not Shane Spencer, who's everybody's new hero? And yeah, it's Curtis, and he is heavily involved in the first scoring rally of the night. Set it up with a double, scored the final run of the inning as Brocious was between first and second. Strike 2 on Clayton. Oh, and 2 to count on Clayton with 1 out, nobody on for the Rangers in the 3rd. A 57-footer to make it 1 and 2.
Those things usually bite a catcher somewhere, and that was no exception. With 2 strikes, up to 2 strikes, you may lay a ball like that, but with 2 strikes, you don't know whether the hitter's going to swing or not. And from a catching standpoint, you have to get in front of it, and usually you just take one to the team.
You always flinch when we show those replays.
Yes, I do. Good reason. So does he.
Here's the 1-2. Wouldn't chase it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Texas Rangers look at the addition of Royce Clayton. as an enormous pickup by Doug Melvin. Not only what he has done at the plate, hitting .285 during the regular season, hit 5 home runs, played in 52 games, but what he does defensively on the infield and what an upgrade it was over the range of Kevin Elster. 3-2 on Clayton. And everybody always prefaces it by saying, look, nothing against Kevin Elster, but Royce Clayton takes hits away, and this Texas Rangers staff is not a dominating type staff. They need somebody at short to anchor that infield defense. Clayton's gone. 4 strikeouts for Wells. Well, we want to remind you, this is the first day of 1998 playoff action. Tomorrow, Wednesday, AL Division Series Game 2, Boston at Cleveland at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. NL Division Series, Chicago Cubs at Atlanta at 4 p.m. on ESPN. And then AL Division Series, this series, Texas at New York, 8 p.m. on NBC. We'll be back on Thursday night with National League action as McLemore flies to center. Williams puts it away, and David Wells is rolling. 2-0 Yankees after 2.5. These are tough fans here, man. That gets 8.
Trying to rush Halloween along. It's about a month away. No gremlins in this park. 23 world championships for the Yankees. 23, by far the most of any other major league team.
34 American League pennants stacked up against the Texas Rangers in round 1. Derek Jeter leads it off. Yes, he's the heartthrob here in New York. Stottlemyre starts him with a breaking ball for strike 1, and we look at the outfield hits by direction.
Derek Jeter has become more of a pull hitter this year with 19 home runs, but he's still a spray hitter, and a lot of those hits to right field have come with 2 strikes.
It's a lot of hits.
It's a lot of hits, period. 203 of them.
It's an old story, but again, the young shortstops in the American League in 1998, Jeter, Garciaparra, and that guy Rodriguez. A ground ball to third. Zio picks it up, flings it across, 1 away.
A-Rod, what a year he had. Wow.
Did you ever think you'd see a shortstop in the 40-40 category?
A shortstop in the second 40-40 club. The only other one, Jose Canseco, but a big, powerful outfielder. You can understand it from there, but not from a shortstop. A guy with that kind of range, those kinds of hands, and that kind of power.
1 out, nobody on for Paul O'Neill. And a check. The swing by O'Neill for ball 1. Seattle Mariners didn't struggle this year because of Alex Rodriguez. Garciaparra is as big a reason why the Red Sox are in the postseason. And a lot of people point to Jeter as the most irreplaceable member of this record-setting Yankee team in 1998.
And one of the reasons is because of the position he plays. His spot in the order. We said it during the regular season. I think Derek Jeter will be the next captain of the Yankees.
One ball, 1 strike, 1 out, nobody on. O'Neill at the plate, doubled his first time up. Put the ball into the left field corner, and then Knobloch was thrown out at the plate at the end of the play on a great relay by Royce Clayton. Takes his strike, and it's 2-2.
Change up right on the corner. Paul O'Neill looking at Jim Joyce, the home plate umpire. Did it have part of the plate? Catcher Cam says yes, it did. Had a corner.
Stottlemyre starts and stops.
Rodriguez set up outside, and Stottlemyre starting, and then thought better of the pitch selection. Joe Torre says about Paul O'Neill that he's a guy who can look for the breaking ball and still hit the fastball.
Fastball coming up and in. 3-2. And we've said before that Paul O'Neill is kind of like the new old reliable around here for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Tommy Henrik, who played here before and after the war, old reliable. This guy is the new one, and he draws a one-out walk. Right now, let's return to Chip Carey in the Fox Television Center.
Joe and Tim, how about reliable as in Mo Vaughn? What a day today for the Red Sox. He single-handedly beat up on the Cleveland Indians. A 3-run homer in the first inning, got the ball rolling. Mo had 2 home runs, drove in 7. First Red Sox player with more than a single home run in a playoff game since Rico Petrocelli did it in '67. They rout them 11-3 and lead that best-of-5 series 1-0.
All right, Chip, that was a frightening proposition for the Cleveland Indians to go into a best-of-5 series against a team with an ace like Pedro Martinez. 1 on, 1 out. Bernie Williams grounds to second. McLemore flips. Clayton in the middle. 4-6-3 to end the inning. And we have played 3. We go to inning number 4. The big guys coming up for Texas. Kelly, Greer, Gonzalez. 2-0 New York. Here is our Aflac trivia question. Bernie Williams, switch hitter, won the 1998 AL batting title with a .339 average. Who was the last switch hitter to win the American League batting title?
Last Yankee was Paul O'Neill back in the strike shortened season, 1994. Hey, there's Kevin Costner. Hey.
That's a big-time booth there.
Kevin Costner?
Donald Trump. He's dancing with wolves now.
Doing a baseball movie in November. I think they're shooting in Chicago. This might be spring training for Kevin tonight.
Roberto Kelly takes a breaking ball for a strike.
What a great line.
Roberto Kelly bounced back to Wells back in the first inning. Strike 2.
Good curveball, and David Wells has everything going tonight. Good breaking ball, good changeup, and a good fastball after some early wildness.
Bouncer for ball 1, 1-2.
This is such a difficult lineup for a left-hander to get out. The Texas Rangers this year hit .316 against left-handed pitching.
That was the best.
Yeah, the best in the American League, in the majors, as a matter of fact.
Kelly a part of that, hitting .323 during the regular season. Trying to get it started with Greer and Gonzalez coming up. 2-2. Look at left-handed starters against the Rangers. There's the Rangers batting average of .316, 48 games. 10 Rangers hit .300 or better this season against left-handers.
Amazing.
Yet the Yankees are starting left-hander Wells in game 1 and left-hander Andy Pettitte in game 2. To the right side for Knobloch. Gets a big hop, picks it out of his back pocket, throws Kelly out. Well, what's it like, Johnny Oates, to face the New York Yankees in round 1, a team that's won 114 games? Here are his thoughts.
I don't know if you can ever look forward to playing the Yankees the way they've played this year, but we do look forward to the challenge. And I think that what we need, again, for us to be successful is for our starting pitching to pitch the way that they did in the final week of the regular season, and for someone offensively to step up and help Juan.
Tim, you've known Johnny Oates a lot longer than I have. When we sat down with him before this game, he really seems, in the few things that he told us about himself, as a man and a manager who has really evolved over the past few seasons.
And really learned how to relax. And I would imagine, I've never been a major league manager, but I would imagine that that's the most difficult thing, to learn how to relax and enjoy things. He managed the Baltimore Orioles for 4 years. This is his 4th year with the Texas Rangers, hired by Doug Melvin, who was the assistant GM with the Orioles. He has gone from the tension of a pennant race to the enjoyment of one, and there's a big difference, and that spreads throughout the clubhouse and permeates a ball club. And you got to feel like some of that's rubbed off on this Texas Ranger team.
Very likable man. His Rangers won 88 games during the regular season. 2 balls and a strike on Rusty Greer. And to the opposite field, and a base hit off the glove of Derek Jeter. Got leather on it, but that's a base hit all the way.
Nice try by Jeter, but this hit puts Greer on and sets the scene for Igor. And if there was ever a guy with the perfect nickname, it's Juan Gonzalez. That's been his nickname forever, Igor. This guy is about as strong a guy pound for pound as there is around.
What hump?
What hump?
1 on, 1 out. 2-0. 2-0. The score is the Yankees lead. They got 2 runs in the second. An RBI by Brocious, another run scoring on a fielder's choice, and now with 1 on, 1 out. Big swing.
Or is it Igor? Here's the scouting report on Juan Gonzalez. Rarely misses anything out over the plate. He hates to walk. He'll go out of the zone. Only 37 unintentional walks this year. And when he tries to pull everything, you've got a shot at getting him out. He has tremendous power the other way. A gap hitter with just tremendous power.
The 0-1 from Wells. But Tim, compared to a guy like McGuire, who's got a short, compact swing, Gonzalez does have a long swing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, but McGuire has a pull uppercut swing. Gonzalez, these areas right here, that's why he likes that ball out over the plate. He muscles balls out over the fence. Mark McGuire, the difference in the 2 home run hitters, has the pull uppercut stroke for his home run stroke.
1 ball, 1 strike from David Wells. Got under it, popped it up for the right side, and it will head out of play for strike 2.
Talking about Mark McGuire, when you think about his year, there's so many ways to try to put it in perspective. He had 25 more home runs than Juan Gonzalez.
Oh. 70 on the year, 4 more than Sammy Sosa. As we await the 1-2 pitch from Wells to Gonzalez. Two and 2.
See, they've shown him everything away. Breaking ball, soft stuff away. As you see Will Clark on deck, and now they're trying to finish him off inside, but Juan has been patient on that inside fastball.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
Change up away. That's what Wells wants.
That pitch was up, and Gonzalez almost came out of his shoes. Still 2 and 2.
All you had to look at to see the effectiveness of that pitch was David Wells after he releases the ball. Now watch David Wells right there. He knows he got away with one. Right up in his eyes. Gonzalez does not foul that ball back that often.
High changeups to a guy like Gonzalez usually end up a souvenir.
Yeah, catchers don't catch those.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out, 2-0 New York in the 4th.
You could feel that fastball inside coming. Watch the sequence. The fastball is fouled back by Gonzalez. He misses inside, does Wells. Now the changeup is fouled away. Slider misses, and that's the pitch he got away with. But right here, he paints the black inside to get him. Gonzalez letting Wells off the hook with that changeup. Then he came back and shredded the inside corner.
And now the lefty, Will Clark, with Greer at first and 2 out. Stays up and in with ball 1. Just a quick story about Mark McGwire. We were talking about him yesterday, or Sunday. The Cardinal owners flew Mark McGwire back in a private plane back to Southern California. They got the most direct route. All of the checkpoints along the way said, say hi to Mark for us, say hi to Mark for us. And when they got to John Wayne Airport out in California, they landed first. Everyone else was circling. And the people in the control tower said, this day, this night, this season belongs to McGwire. Land your plane.
Oh, that's great.
2-0 the count on Will Clark. By the way, Mark McGwire got to the beach in a hurry. Last game in St. Louis on Sunday, he left Sunday night. And I have a feeling we will not see him until spring training next year, although he will make a visit to the White House, I understand, but no postseason baseball visits.
May see him in a Pro-Am golf tournament in early February.
Might see him win the long drive competition.
Yeah, right.
The 2-0 is over the outside corner to Clark, 2-1. Well, if they called Will Clark the natural when he came up because of that swing, around here, Shane Spencer is now the natural.
He sure is.
He was the American League Player of the Week for the final week of the season.
That's what put him on the postseason roster.
A strike from Wells, and it's 2-2. There it is. Pick me out a winner, Bobby. In 67 career at-bats, 3 grand slams, 10 home runs, but not in the lineup tonight.
Roy Hobbs lives.
This crowd to its feet, hoping the top of the 4th inning comes to a close right here. Clark is gone. Back-to-back strikeouts, 6 on the night for David Wells. The 18-game winner in complete control so far, 2-0 New York. Black trivia question again. Bernie Williams, a switch hitter, won the 1998 American League batting title, hit .339. Who was the last switch hitter to win the AL batting title? Our Aflac trivia answer, Willie Wilson hit .332 in 1982 with Kansas City. So you have to go all the way back to 1982 to find the last switch hitter in this league to win the batting title. Congratulations again to Bernie Williams. Here's Tino Martinez. Into right center field. Well hit. Kelly back at the wall, leaps, and he keeps it in the park. Roberto Kelly pulls it back into the park, and Tino Martinez has a leadoff double. And then in a terrible move, somebody dumps what looked like a beer on top of Roberto Kelly out in right center field.
And that person should be removed immediately. Good call, too, Joe. I think this ball would have been out of here. Watch Kelly reaching up. The ball hit the heel of the glove. He actually jumped too high and then lands right at his feet. But that ball would have been out had Kelly not gone up to get it. So he doesn't make the catch, but he does hold Martinez to a double. Yeah, that ball's out of here.
So a runner at second, nobody out, and Chili Davis takes a strike over the outside corner. Davis struck out his first time. his first year with the Yankees. New York leading 2-0, and Davis fouls it away, and quickly he's in the hole 0-2. Posada waits on deck, but right now Stottlemyre's focused on Davis, who's set up at 0-2. Third double of the night, by the way, for New York, as Chile takes one outside. Davis checks his swing on ball 2. Third base umpire Tim Tashida hasn't rung up anybody, and this was the most obvious of all of them.
Similar, but I thought he held up.
I did too.
From catcher cam. Slider in the dirt. Chile does not go around.
Two balls, 2 strikes. That missed from 0-2 to 3-2 from Stottlemyre. Under the watchful eye of Dick Bosman, the pitching coach. On 3-2, Davis, a squirter to the left side. Tough play for Zeal. The barehanded throw. Good play. 1 out. Over to third is Tino Martinez with 1 away for Posada. This week, it's another Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Starting off with a classic NFC East matchup as the Cowboys take on the Redskins, followed by the Eagles battling with the Denver Broncos. Plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Check your local listings. Right on cue, there's John Madden. Where are you going to be this week?
I'm going to be in that game you were just talking about in Denver, Philadelphia at Denver. So they really looked good the last time I was there. They had the first 5 times they had the ball against Cowboys, they scored 5 touchdowns.
John Madden will talk to you during this inning as the Yankees have Tino Martinez at third, 1 out, infield in, and Posada takes a ball outside. John, what an amazing story the New York Yankees have been in 1998.
Yeah, and I think as an old coach, I think that's one of the great stories, you know, and I know what Mark McGwire did was great. Sammy Sosa, that was great, and all those other things in baseball. But what the Yankees did, I think, was one of the great stories of this year. I think it was buried a little, too.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's no doubt that Mark McGwire took some ink away from the New York Yankees this year. 1 ball, 1 strike, runner at third with 1 out, and Jorge Posada, who drove in 63 runs during the regular season, trying to add to the New York 2-0 4th inning lead. Infield is in, and Posada takes it up and away. So you've got to get in the bus after this, John, and head out of town, right?
Yeah, but I have until Thursday. I leave Thursday morning, and then I get there Friday afternoon. So it's 30 hours. That's not bad. But this is a good place. If you're going to be someplace between games, this is a heck of a place to be tonight.
2 balls and a strike.
I'll tell you, Wells is on the All-Madden team. I love this guy.
Here's the 2-1. Posada takes a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, John, we'll let you enjoy the game. Thanks for joining us, and good luck on your trip out west.
Okay, thanks for having me.
All right, John Madden, Fox NFL analyst, and checking out the action. Yankee Stadium always brings out a unique crowd. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at third, 1 out. Todd Stottlemyre trying to get around that leadoff double. Posada is gone, and there's the big strikeout we talked about with Stottlemyre. He rings up number 4, and none bigger than that one to get Posada.
2-2 fastball on the outside corner. A foul tip held on to by Rodriguez. Right there. Corner shredder.
A great look at that pitch from Stottlemyre over the outside part. Posada is gone for the second out, and now with Chad Curtis digging in. Again, a man who was in the lineup because of his defensive abilities in left field. He has a runner at third, 2 out, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike from Stottlemyre.
You notice Todd Zeile, even with the bag at third base, Chad Curtis is a guy who will bunt for a base hit with a runner on third and 2 out. Todd Zeile taking no chances. He'll probably move back with 2 strikes if Stottlemyre gets that far.
Martinez at third with 2 out. Curtis couldn't hold up, and there's that nasty slider down and away. The count 0-2.
Well, that is wicked right there. Stottlemyre drops down just a little bit. This is a 3/4 slider. Vicious.
Quickly an 0-2 count. And time called before the pitch.
Stottlemyre coming down off the mound thinking that Curtis called timeout a little too late. Pitchers don't like that, and I understand that. Into their windup or into their movement. Coming forward, and the hitter steps out on him.
The 0-2 to Curtis. Wouldn't chase that 1-2.
When you've got Ivan Rodriguez behind the plate, you can afford to make your quality breaking balls in the dirt, knowing he's going to suck them up. This guy's a vacuum cleaner behind home.
Runner at third, 2 down, and the 1-2 pitch to Chad Curtis. Got him to end the inning. Remember how this inning started? It looked like a home run off the bat of Tino Martinez. Roberto Kelly pulled it back into the park. This literally saved a run as Stottlemyre got around it. Still 2-0 New York after 4. Batting tonight's shots from above, the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. The Goodyear Blimps are now in their 4th decade of live sports coverage. And just for a little extra information, the first, 1960, the Orange Bowl. What a beautiful night. Beautiful day weather-wise here. David Wells brings it to Rodriguez, and a strike from the left-hander to Ivan.
I know
struck out his first time.
I know Brett Favre throws the, or is it Brett Favre? Favre.
Got it.
As in something about Mary.
That's right.
Yeah.
You'll have to catch me up. The ground ball to third off the bat of Rodriguez into the glove of Brocious, 1 away. And Ivan is 0 for 2.
I know Favre has a great arm and everything, but I doubt that he has ever thrown a football 94 miles an hour. So John getting a new experience behind the jugs gun.
And now Zeile with 1 out, nobody on. Todd struck out his first time up. And a good play on that ball hit by Chili Davis in the bottom of the 4th after the leadoff double by Tino Martinez. Base is empty with 1 away, and Zeile takes it low. Todd Zeile's second taste of postseason back in 1996 was a late addition to the Baltimore Orioles. Faced the Yankees in the ALCS that year. And now happy to be in Texas. As he takes a strike, it's 1-1. There's the night for David Wells. That should total 6. It does. They're keeping up. Stottlemyre on the other side has struck out 5. Zeile out in front. Strike 2. David Wells looking for strikeout number 7. Zeal into left field, didn't get all of it, and Chad Curtis, that's why he's out there, 2 gone. Went a long way to get it, and Zeal's 0 for 2. We'll talk about what's coming your way tomorrow night. What's the worst thing you can do to your mother? Well, steal her fiance, of course. Don't miss a brand new Beverly Hills 90210, followed by an all-new Party of 5. It all starts tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Nothing shaken for the Rangers in the 5th inning. 2 out, nobody on for Mike Sims. And a strike over the inside corner.
Mike Sims, an A for perseverance. Released twice in 1993 by Houston. So with the Baltimore Orioles, Pittsburgh released him. Back in the big leagues.
And he grounds up the middle. Knobloch can't get there. It's a 2-out hit for Sims, and for the Rangers, their 2nd hit of the night. Just under the glove, and that keeps the inning alive for the number 9 man, Clayton.
Biggest thing in Chuck Knobloch's career is trying to adjust from the artificial surface in Minneapolis, where he played so brilliantly for so many years, to natural turf here at Yankee Stadium. And Chuck did not get down on that ball. Had he gotten down, it's doubtful that he throws Sims out anyway.
So a 2-out single, and here's Clayton, who hit 5 home runs during the regular season in 52 games with Texas. Strike 1. David Wells issued a leadoff walk in the 1st inning to McLemore. Then retired 10 in a row before a hit by Greer. 4 more in a row before this hit by Sims, and he has Clayton set up at 0-2. So 2 hits and a walk, the offensive attack tonight against David Wells. Clayton stays alive at 0-2. Royce Clayton, an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year.
As is Todd Stottlemyre.
Many believe Clayton will stick around in Texas. He's played that well that they want to bring him back. Folks in St. Louis, including the front office, believe they'll be able to sign Stottlemyre back after trading him to Texas this season. The 0-2. Clayton strikes out. That's number 7. Still 2-0 New York halfway through game number 1. To the bottom of the 5th inning. Well-pitched game. Well-played game defensively for the Texas Rangers behind Todd Stottlemyre. They have really helped him out tonight. As Brocious goes around, they appeal to Durwood Merrill, and Scott is amazed that he's behind on the count 0-1.
Did he go too far? He looked like he held up.
Does it again. Durwood. Safe. Didn't go. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's foul off the end of the bat. Strike 2.
That was a real hanger that Todd Stottlemyre got away with. We saw the straight change to Juan Gonzalez that David Wells, I'll guarantee you, he's still thinking about that. Here's the hanging slider, backs up right over the fat part of the plate, and Scott pulls it foul.
Brocious is gone. Strikeout number 6 for Todd Stottlemyre. And that will remind us to remind you about playoff baseball tomorrow. Red Sox and Indians game 2, 1 o'clock on ESPN Eastern time. Cubs at Braves, game 1 of that series, 4 o'clock on ESPN Eastern time. And then Rangers at Yankees. Our friends at NBC will bring that to you at 8 o'clock Eastern time, game 2. And Major League Baseball on Fox returns on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time as the Braves host the Cubs in game 2 of the National League Division Series. Strike 1 on Knobloch.
What about baseball today? Down in Houston, Kevin Brown in 8 innings struck out 16 Houston Astros. My goodness.
Knobloch pops it up into right. Gonzalez is there, 2 gone.
Greg Vaughn with 3 hits and a home run, and San Diego beat the Houston Astros 2-1. What a job by Kevin Brown.
And if you don't know, the 16 strikeouts, the most since Bob Gibson struck out 17 in game 1 of the 1968 series against Detroit, a 4-0 win in a game that you caught.
Yep.
Bob Gibson now a part of the American League office with Dr. Gene Budig. In the ultimate of ironies, year of the brawl.
Consulted about knockdown pitches.
Right. What do you think his answer is? Jeter could catch up to that pitch from Stottlemyre. Strike 1. Derek is 0 for 2. And a look from behind the plate in the mask of Ivan Rodriguez. Two out, nobody on. Rodriguez is not only one of the best, 6 consecutive Gold Gloves behind the plate, but kind enough to wear catcher cam for us tonight. It adds a little weight to that mask, so we certainly appreciate him doing that. Didn't have to do it, but he said yes. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 2-1 now as Stottlemyre misses down and in.
Well, that camera has given us some terrific shots of some pitches, but the best shot that we have ever gotten was on Chuck Knobloch trying to score in the 1st inning. That's the best shot I think that camera has ever gotten.
2 balls and a strike on Derek Jeter, who is 0 for 2. That miss down and away. 3-1 with O'Neill next.
Stottlemyre not interested in walking Derek Jeter, not with O'Neill coming up. He'll give him a bat pitch to hit right here, or try to.
And Jeter pops it foul out of play. Full count.
Time to challenge, time to finesse. Now's the time to challenge Derek Jeter.
Three balls, 2 strikes with 2 out, nobody on. Two-out walk. We came in talking about the 114 victories this season for the New York Yankees. The best single-season record in Yankee history. And that Yankee history is studied by David Wells. And the 27 Yankees are typically the barometer by which you measure a team. A lot of times you hear baseball people say, well, they're not the 27 Yankees.
Yeah.
And now the 1998 Yankees have 114 victories compared to the 110 by the 1927 Yankees. And these 1998 Yankees wondering if they'll be remembered like the 27 Yankees or if they'll be remembered at all.
They'll be remembered like the 27 Yankees if they win the World Series.
If they don't, maybe like the 1954 Indians.
That's right. They won 111 games, and the Yankees finished 8 games behind Cleveland that year, winning 103.
Ground ball to second. McLemore throws out O'Neill, and we are through 5 in game 1. The Yankees have left 4. They lead by 2. Here's a look at our game summary just to catch you up to date on what's happened in this division series game 1 in case you're just joining us. Brocious an RBI single in the 2nd, then he was hung up between 1st and 2nd After Knobloch struck out, Chad Curtis scores during the rundown on a fielder's choice. A look at the two pitchers' nights, and then well, now a look at a couple of big defensive plays that have helped Texas in this game.
Rusty Greer to Royce Clayton to Von Rodriguez on the relay, the double by Paul O'Neill. And then in the fourth inning, the leadoff double by Tino Martinez, but it could have been a home run were it not for the leaping ability of Roberto Kelly. And the Yankees failed to score in the fourth. Two huge defensive plays by Texas in this game.
Top of the order for the Rangers. McLemore, Kelly, and Greer. If anybody gets on, Juan Gonzalez. McLemore is 0 for 1 with a walk. He's fly to center. Strike 2 in a hurry. So far, so very good for David Wells, who had the 5th best ERA this season in the American League at under 3.5, and this year 11-1 at Yankee Stadium.
Second in winning percentage and complete games, first in shutouts, first in walks per 9 innings. You go right down the line. David Wells 18-4 this year, working on a masterpiece in a season of masterpieces for David Wells and the Yankees.
Great numbers in his career in the division series. A ball and 2 strikes.
Joe, I cannot help but think that David Wells' year may have been different had it not been for Joe Torre and the words that Torre had after that outing on May the 6th. The Yankees were winning 9-0 with Wells on the mound, and he gave up 7 runs in the bottom of the 3rd.
McLemore reaches up and pops it into left center field. Bernie Williams over to get it, 1 away, and McLemore is 0 for 2.
Joe Torre came to take Wells out of the ball game. Wells berated not only Torre but pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre. And the next day, Torre came out in the paper saying that David and I had a talk. They talked about his weight. They said he wasn't in shape. And 11 days later, he pitched a perfect game. Also problems in the 3rd start from the end of the season in Baltimore when he showed up 3 of his players. After a ball dropped in left center field, he stood there with his hands on his hips. And Joe Torre told him in no uncertain terms that you owe your teammates an apology. David apologized, and I can't help but think that the discipline of Torre has helped David Wells throughout this season and the Yankees.
One of those players was Derek Jeter,
right,
of all people.
Yeah.
If you're going to show somebody up, Jeter isn't the guy to do it to.
No.
Who is as valuable a player on this team as any the Yankees have. Another one was Ricky Leday, a young outfielder. But Jeter was the main name involved, and David did apologize to everyone involved.
Right.
Roberto Kelly comes up empty 1-2. Yet David Wells is still one of the great characters of this game.
He really is.
Everything's fine, though, and that's really been the way this team has been run under Joe Torre. A few bumps in the road, not many, considering where this team plays. But when there are bumps, Joe Torre is the guy there to help smooth it over. Kelly takes a ball. It's 2-2.
Well, the thing about Joe that some managers don't do, Joe handles it immediately and will not allow it to fester. He does not believe in allowing things to go on. You nip it in the bud and you save yourself a ton of headaches.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. 2-0 Yankees in the 6th inning, and Roberto Kelly took ball 3 that just missed. 3-2.
You've heard of backdoor sliders. This is a backdoor curveball that just missed and stayed outside.
So now 3-2 with Greer and Gonzalez coming up. To the right side, hard hit, but right at Knobloch. 2 up, 2 down. Interestingly enough, back in 1996, when the Yankees ended up winning the World Series, and these two teams met in the division series, Johnny Oates and Joe Torre split the Manager of the Year award. Well, in 1998, Joe Torre in this Yankee group won 114 games, and there's nobody doing a better job in baseball than Joe Torre managing the Yankees. Greer flies to left. He's now 1 out of 3. Torre's Yankees lead 2-0 into the bottom of the 6th.
1998 American League Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Claritin.
We move into the bottom of the 6th inning here in New York at Yankee Stadium, and the Yankees will bat with the 4, 5, and 6 hitters, Williams, Martinez, and Chili Davis. Bernie Williams is 0 for 1 with a walk. Bounced into a double play his last time up and takes a breaking ball low from Stottlemyre for ball 1.
Joe, a couple of innings back, we talked about Todd Stottlemyre, Royce Clayton becoming unrestricted free agents, and obviously so is Bernie Williams. Bernie making about $8.5 million a year now, will require a big package on his free agent year.
To the right side, picked up by McLemore, and Williams is gone. In my mind, one of the few mistakes made around here lately was not signing Bernie Williams to a long-term contract. They talked about what, a 7-year deal at $77 million, and in a very short time while they talked about that, that became a very workable figure in my mind for a guy like Bernie Williams.
Yeah, very good deal for Bernie.
And now he, it looks like, will head into free agency. And he could end up anywhere. And if the Yankees lose Bernie Williams, they will have lost a big part of the Yankee success in '96, last year, this year, getting back to the postseason, 4th consecutive year.
Jim Dwyer of the New York Daily News had a great column about Bernie, about the personal side of him, and Bernie saying in that column that Yankee Stadium is where I became a man, and that's a quote. What a man.
0-2 the count on Tino Martinez, who has doubled. He hit the ball that Roberto Kelly pulled back into the playing field and then was stranded back in the 4th inning. A ball and 2 strikes on Tino Martinez. Todd Stottlemyre has done a very good job keeping his team in the game as Tino Martinez pops one into right. Juan Gonzalez back to get it. 2 out, nothing doing for the Yankees here in the 6th inning. That'll bring in Chili Davis. And there's a power picture. Look at George Steinbrenner wearing a Fox hat.
Yeah, George Steinbrenner right here. He's signed some checks to the Yankee players, and Rudolph Giuliani signs checks for the city employees, and Rupert Murdoch right there signs our checks. So that's a pretty good triumvirate.
You got it. 2 out, nobody on for Chili Davis. Chili Davis, a .291 hitter during the regular season. It's interesting when you see George Steinbrenner and Rudolph Giuliani sitting together, thinking about the future of this great stadium in the Bronx, historic Yankee Stadium. They've been playing here since 1923, and the lease is up 2003. Into center field, and Kelly makes the basket catch on the run. George Steinbrenner said that if we draw $3 million, we'll talk. Might be like Mark McGwire saying, if I hit 70 home runs, I'll retire. We drew how many? They came up just short. 2-0 New York. Bambino. And the monument out in Monument Park, which was put in place back in 1932, and some great names, great players, great managers have worn the Yankee pinstripes. Some of the biggest names in the history of this sport. David Wells goes back to work. Tim, you and I both think there's a way the Texas Rangers can win this divisional series, and the way the Rangers have done it all year with their pitching. Their starting pitching has struggled, but if they get starting pitching that's good enough to keep them in the game, which they've gotten from Todd Stottlemyre tonight, their offense typically plugs away, does its thing, and gets it done. But right now, Gonzalez is 0 for 3, and if you want success against Texas, keep Gonzalez on the bench and off the bases.
Yeah, and the one thing you want to do with Gonzalez is pitch to him with nobody on. And the Yankees just did that. The other 2 times he had a man on first base. But Juan Gonzalez, one of the real threats in baseball, and should be up again before this game's over.
1 out, nobody on for Will Clark, who is 0 for 2. The middle of this lineup. We came in talking about Greer, Gonzalez, Clark, Rodriguez. Has a total of 1 hit.
3 base runners for the Rangers tonight, and 6 1/3. Wells has just been terrific.
But that's been the Rangers' formula for success. Get good enough starting pitching, let the offense do its work and pound out some runs, and then hand it over to one of the game's best in John Wetland. Clark into left field off the end of the bat. A base hit with 1 out here in the 7th inning. That's the 3rd Texas hit of the night. Right now, let's return to Chip Carey in the Fox Television Center.
Joe, thanks a lot. While David Wells dominates in New York, how about Kevin Brown down at the Dome for the Padres? He struck out 16 men today, 2nd highest postseason strikeout total since Bob Gibson struck out 17 Tigers in Game 1 of the '68 World Series. Tim, I'm sure you remember that performance. It was unbelievable, as was Brown today.
Bob Gibson's slider was breaking so much that day that his 17th strikeout was the left fielder of the Tigers, Willie Horton. And I think to this day, Willie still thinks that pitch hit him. I heard that ball broke about 1.5 feet and was over the fat part of the plate. Willie couldn't believe it.
You look at the box score for the Texas Rangers. Greer has a hit. Clark has a hit. He's on base right now. Mike Sims has a hit up the middle. That hit happened with 2 out. Back in the 5th. So Clark trying to get something started with Ivan Rodriguez at the plate, 0 for 2. This is a good Texas lineup top to bottom. They have Rodriguez up now with Zeal, always a big run producer, on deck. Out in front is Rodriguez, strike 2. El Duque stretching out, scheduled to pitch in Game 4 if there is a Game 4. This best-of-5 series, 2-0 Yankees in the 7th. The 0-2.
The best time to throw the inside fastball is with 2 strikes. And the reason for that is that the good hitters try to protect outside. That's why you can crowd them with 2 strikes. Wells tried, but pitch sailed inside.
Breaking ball, and Rodriguez just got a piece to stay alive.
After the fastball misses inside, he comes back with a very good curveball, tightly wrapped, and Pudge just gets a piece of it.
And again, we await the 1-2 pitch as Wells tries to get around a 1-out single by Will Clark, who isn't running well with that broken toe. Rodriguez fought it off to stay alive. Todd Stottlemyre has done his part. Said in that start during the regular season in front of his father Mel, it was like going back to when I was a kid trying to make my father proud. And his father can be nothing but proud of his efforts here tonight. One and two on Rodriguez. Another squirter off the hands to keep it 1-2.
Get back to Joe Torre's comments on camera before the game. If we don't pitch, we will not be able to beat the Rangers. We can't stand toe-to-toe. And what a pitching performance thus far by David Wells.
Up to 95 pitches on the night. Again the 1-2. And again off the hands and fouled back by Rodriguez. Good at bat by Ivan. Moment here for the Rangers to try to get something working against David Wells. That has not been easy all night. Breaking ball, ground ball to short. Jeter starts it, Knobloch in the middle. Martinez can't hang on. Durwood Merrill was ready to ring up Rodriguez, but Tino Martinez was handcuffed on that low throw by Knobloch, who struggled with that this season. And the inning continues for Zeal.
Not quite to the degree that he was labeled with the Steve Sachs disease of not being able to throw as a second baseman, but to the degree that he made rather routine throws to first look more like these. Now you got to give Will Clark a lot of credit barreling into Knobloch right here. Watch Clark going to Knobloch hard, trying to throw it over Will, but it does short hop Tino Martinez to keep the inning alive.
And now Zeal bats with 1 on, 2 out. And a check on Rodriguez.
Tell you, if David Wells comes inside on Todd Zeal right here, he better make it off the plate. Because Todd Zeal, at third time through the lineup, a very dangerous power hitter with a quick bat on that inside pitch.
Inside and off the plate, ball 1.
You make a mistake to Zeal inside when you're not throwing your good fastball, and third time through the lineup, you're not as fast as you were. You make a mistake away, it's a single. Make a mistake inside, could be a long ball.
One ball, no strikes on Zeal. 1 on, 2 out, and another look at Rodriguez, who was 9 for 9 in stolen base attempts during the regular season.
Doubtful he'll be running, however, with Zeal up there, a chance to tie it with 1 swing of the bat.
David Wells on this cool night, allowed to blow into that pitching hand by the umpiring crew. Brings it on 1-0. 2-0. Zeal will not help Wells going after a pitch out of the strike zone. Sims, another home run threat on deck. But because of the pitching of Todd Stottlemyre, the Rangers are never far from a game tying or go ahead rally. Into left field, a base hit, and all of a sudden the tying runs are on here in the 7th inning for Texas. Pitch was up from Wells and Zeal jumped on it.
.2-0 fastball. When you get a major league hitter into a situation where he gets a predictable pitch, That's what happens. Rope to left. Bang.
And now Sims is at the plate after the hit by Zeal with the tying runs on and 2 out in the 7th. Sims 1 for 2 tonight. A single up the middle his last time up. Good moving pitch for a strike over the inside corner.
You mentioned the power that Sims has. He had 16 home runs this year and only 186 at bats. Terrific ratio. Not Maguirean, but terrific ratio nonetheless.
The Rangers a chance here with a runner in scoring position, plus another man on. 2 on, 2 out. 2-0 New York in the 7th. Same pitch, same result, 0-2. Fought it off. Will Clark has a hit in this inning and then helped to break up what could have been an inning-ending double play. That was followed by a hit by Zeal, and now a rally here with 2 out for Texas. But an 0-2 count on Mike Sims. Rodriguez, the lead runner at second. Zeal, the trailer at first. He carries the tying run in his back pocket. Sims has done well to lay off the last 2 pitches. 2-2. October baseball in the month of September here in the Bronx. Sims with a good at bat now, keeping it 2-2. The New York Yankees clinched a wild card spot August 29th. Clinched the division September 9th. It's been a while since the Yankees have been involved in a game and a situation this tense. As game 1 of this division series, leading by 2 with 2 on, 2 out. Sims stays alive.
David Wells has featured 3 inside fastballs, 2 curveballs, and now a changeup. And keep in mind, it was Will Clark who helped keep this inning alive with that barreling into Chuck Knobloch to upset him at second base.
He with a broken toe.
Yeah, right.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. $50,000 umpires thought the top of the 7th inning was over. It misses. 3-2.
Posada setting up inside, and the pitch was inside. Good call by Jim Joyce. And a key call and a key pitch because now at the count 3-2-2 out, runners will be off. Short double could score Todd Zeile at first, the trail runner.
American League Division Series on Fox is brought to you by MCI WorldCom. Now the world is officially open for business.
A little action on the GW Bridge. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver with you, along with our producer John Filippelli, our director Bill Webb, and some very patriotic young men.
Probably came across the George Washington Bridge themselves.
Yeah. Bottom of the 7th inning, Posada leads it off against Stottlemyre and takes a strike at the knees. Posada is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. You go back to the only run scoring inning of the night, and who got the hit? The man who was in the game for defensive reasons, Chad Curtis. He gets the big double, which followed the walk by Posada, set up the RBI single by Brocious, and then Curtis scored while Brocious was hung up between first and second, running on a strikeout. There's a strikeout to Posada, second time he's fanned, and 7 in the game now for Stottlemyre. Curtis walks to the plate. Joe Torre's thoughts on starting Chad Curtis tonight.
To me, and I keep having to go back over what we are, we're a pitching-oriented ball club. And I just felt in left field, in our ballpark, which is not an easy left field to play, that I felt I wanted the defense. And I feel that the offense that we have in the lineup, without a Strawberry and without a Raines, still should suffice.
Joe Torre pulled the right string again as Stottlemyre misses low and away. You look at guys like Tim Raines and Darryl Strawberry. Darryl has made a few comments here and there, but for the most part, everyone pulling in the same direction here with the Yankees, putting their self-interest aside for the good of the team, and it's Curtis in there tonight, and he has delivered. 2-0 from Stottlemyre. Chad Curtis with that double and a strikeout. As the count in his favor. Not anymore. 2-2.
3 fastballs from Stottlemyre, then a different look. A wrinkle with the slider. Ability to throw the breaking ball over behind in the count as you look at Scott Brocious. As Joe said earlier, had a big hit.
Curtis throws the bat at the ball, and Zeile will let it roll for a base hit. Curtis now 2 out of 3. And the only Yankee in the starting lineup with more than 1 hit.
Look at that. The bat went farther than the ball. Nothing Todd Zeile can do with this as Chad Curtis throws his bat at the slider low and away. The bat goes farther than the ball as the ball rolls to a dead stop, and it's kicked with the right foot of Todd Zeile. Check it out.
It's the only play Zeile had, and it's a 1-out base hit for Curtis, and now the number 9 hitter Brocious, 1 out of 2 tonight. Takes a ball. So the bottom of the order doing the damage. for the Yankees, and that's the first Yankee hit since the first man to the plate in the 4th.
I think Joe Torre may guess fastball here, try to get Brocious a good pitch to hit and run with Curtis going. It's a good time to do it with the 2-0 lead.
Curtis starts and stops, and Brocious comes up empty, 1-1. There are a few pitchers in the big leagues still where pitch count doesn't matter. There are 2 in the ballpark tonight. Stottlemyre's one of them, and David Cohn is the other. Now Curtis is going. The Rangers pitch out, and goodbye Chad Curtis as Ivan Rodriguez fires a strike.
I think what may have happened, Curtis may have missed the hit and run when Brocious swung on the 1-0 pitch. He tries to run here, and with Rodriguez pitching out, you can forget it. This guy with a howitzer hanging from his right shoulder, and Curtis is out by 3 feet. Pitch out, the tag applied.
Now Brocious swings and misses, 2-2.
Pudge Rodriguez threw out 56% of the runners this year. He is as good as they get behind the plate.
He is 100% tonight, 1 for 1. Curtis had no chance on the pitch out. Now 2-2 on Brocious as Stottlemyre tries to get through 7 in what would be a very impressive start here tonight for Texas. Stottlemyre thought he had it. So did a couple of his infielders, and he's pulled back with a 3-2 count on Brocious.
Dropping down a little bit. And the slider was outside, very close. Just missing.
Now Brocious rips it down the line, but foul. And every time a ball is shot down the line here at Yankee Stadium, don't give up on it, because right down the line and only 318 feet away is that left field wall.
That's right. Jeffrey Mayer's 14 now, not 12.
Oh, no. The 3-2 pitch. Brocious is gone, and Stottlemyre has 8 strikeouts. We played 7 in game 1. Clayton, McLemore, Kelly coming up for Texas. Stadium record 2,949,734. Paid to see games here at Yankee Stadium this year, and overhead tonight. The shots courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. This year Goodyear is celebrating its 100-year anniversary and 72nd consecutive year for its blimp operation. Again, thanks to Goodyear for their aerial views of Yankee Stadium. So they were just short, less than 51,000 fans short of that magical 3 million mark laid out there before the season by George Steinbrenner. Still a Yankee Stadium record, but short of the 3 million mark, which evidently would have prompted discussions of trying to improve this park in this area in the Bronx to keep the Yankees here. Breaking ball for a strike to Royce Clayton. David Wells with his 8 strikeouts tonight, tied a playoff career high.
Hard to believe the Yankees have never topped 3 million, where their crosstown rival Mets have topped 3 million 2 years back in the 80s.
It is a rather convincing argument laid out by George Steinbrenner, that fact that they have never drawn 3 million fans here to this park in the Bronx. When he says to compete, which a lot of other owners and general managers laugh at, but says to compete we need a stadium elsewhere where we can draw more than 3 million and get the crowds that other cities get, especially considering the size of New York. But when they come here, they get into this stadium and they pack this place, I would venture to say it is the most electric atmosphere in all of baseball.
Well, if you build a stadium for the Yankees, you got to build a stadium for the Mets. That's one of the problems in the city. You have 2 teams for whom you would have to build a stadium. You can't do it for one and not the other.
Action in the Yankees bullpen as Clayton takes a ball just up and away. Clayton, McLemore, and Kelly. If anybody gets on, the number 3 hitter Greer, and this pitch just missed.
Over the plate, but high.
Rudolph Giuliani, a Yankee fan, an admitted Yankee fan, as Clayton fouls it away. Still 2-2 on Royce, who has struck out twice. Wells, a moment to think about this 2-2 pitch to Clayton, leading off in the 8th. Off the end of the bat, a little flare into right for Paul O'Neill. Leadoff man for Texas is gone. Clayton is 0 for 3. And again tomorrow, Wednesday games, AL Division Series Game 2. Boston at Cleveland after Boston won today 11-3. 2 bombs by Mo Vaughn. It'll be 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. Game 1 of the Cubs at Atlanta, 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Game 2 of this series tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern, NBC. And then Major League Baseball on Fox returns on Thursday at 8 p.m. as the Braves host the Cubs in Game 2 of the NL Division Series. There it is laid out for you on Thursday night. Tom Brenneman, Bob Brenly, Michael Weissman, Jim Lynch will bring you that game from Turner Field in Atlanta. 1 out, nobody on. 1 ball, no strikes on Mark McLemore. 1-1.
Mo Vaughn with 7 RBIs today. 7 in the first game of that series. And remember, Mo Vaughn was 0 for 14 coming into that in divisional series play. Red Sox winning their first game today since the Game 5 of the 1986 World Series against the New York Mets.
Game 6 was a bad game for the Boston Red Sox.
Game 6 was a horrible game for all of New England and Bill Buckner.
1-2 on McLemore. 1 out, nobody on. That's foul. Bill Buckner is watching somewhere saying, can I go through one postseason without somebody bringing that up?
You know who got a real reprieve? Brant Brown. I think everybody in baseball is happy that he was not hung for the Cubs not winning the wild card berth. Dropping that ball last Wednesday in Milwaukee. 3 runs scored, and Milwaukee won that game. And had the Cubs not won, Brant Brown's name would have been a name of infamy in the Windy City.
McLemore fouls another away. Another on that reprieve list, umpire Bob Davidson.
That's right. Should have been 71 home runs, right?
He took number 66 away in Milwaukee for a while. McGuire lost the home run lead, but then put on a charge. 5 unanswered home runs to win that race.
5 home runs in his last 11 at-bats.
2-2 on McLemore. We came in talking about 1998, and I have a feeling we'll be talking about 1998 and the different storylines and where they all head from here on out for a long time. The impact of the home run race, I think, will be felt 15, 20 years from now. These kids packing into the ballparks to watch that home run race are buying tickets and bringing their kids. McLemore rips one into left field. Curtis back. He's in there for defense, and he misplays a ball over his head. McLemore is at second with a 1-out double, and Curtis did not get a good read on that. And this place is dead quiet. Yankee Stadium dead quiet after that over the head of Curtis.
Had he broken back right away, he makes the play, but that hesitation right there, and now breaking back, it's too late. That ball has got to be handled. So far, Chad Curtis has delivered offensively, but not defensively.
And there's a reaction from Wells, which carried to the next degree. Drew the wrath and ire of Joe Torre back in Baltimore. Now time is called, and we'll see how the Yankees want to play this. They had Rivera warming up in the bullpen. And Joe Torre will jog out of the dugout and check on David Wells.
Well, the one reason you don't want to bring Rivera into this situation is Rusty Greer is on deck. Ideally, what Joe would like to do after asking David Wells, is he all right, is to bring in the left-hander Stanton to pitch to Greer, and now you've got your right-hander Rivera to pitch to Gonzalez and to finish the ninth. That's in a perfect world with the Yankees, but Wells will face Roberto Kelly, and this may be his last guy.
Well, Stanton's no longer throwing up there. We just had a shot of the bullpen, and it's Nelson and Rivera getting loose. Interesting with Greer on deck. Odd, really.
Stanton sitting down, and David Wells over the top doesn't have that tailing fastball that he can throw inside the left-handed batters. The real question is, why has Stanton sat down?
A breaking ball for a strike to Roberto Kelly. Roberto is 0 for 3. Defensively, he's made a difference, pulling what would have been a home run off the bat of Tino Martinez back into the park in the fourth. Jose Cardinal adjusting the Yankee defense. Texas with a tying run at the plate. A double by McLemore, and the 0-1 to Roberto Kelly. Breaking ball fouled away for strike 2. Nicely played by Posada to keep McLemore from heading to third. A big play with only 1 out.
Nice stop by Posada, smothering that breaking ball in the dirt.
Since Stanton has taken a seat in the bullpen, it would lead you to believe Wells has this hitter Kelly plus 1 more. With the lefty Greer on deck. Wells 1 and 2 on Roberto Kelly. Still 1 and 2, and that pitch was more out over the plate than David Wells, I'm sure, would have wanted.
Roberto Kelly, you could see the look on his face. He just missed that pitch. He would love to have this one back. This is a real hanger right here.
Gonzalez in the hole. Action for the Rangers in the 8th. Tying run at the plate, Roberto Kelly. Kelly stays alive.
Posada out to talk to Wells right now. The one thing you do not want to do in this situation is get beaten or tied by anything but your best. If he's still throwing hard, he's thrown enough breaking balls to Roberto Kelly. He really should come back with a fastball. You don't throw that changeup off your curveball because there's really no deception there. This is a good time for Wells to reach back to Roberto Kelly.
The 1-2 from David Wells. Not close. 2-2.
Another breaking ball to Kelly.
Approaching 130 pitches on the night as well.
Breaking ball is starting to stay up, and he is making one mistake after another with that pitch.
Gotten away with it a couple of times. This is a Texas lineup that typically won't miss mistakes. Wells battling in the 8th. A little low. 3-2. Joe Torre is sticking with David Wells. It was not helped by his defense, and in particular Curtis in left field on the double by McLemore. Kelly pops it foul, back and out of play. Haven't seen a fastball in a while, have we?
I was going to say, Roberto Kelly's probably thinking, what in the world would it do for David Wells to, or take for David Wells to throw me a fastball? Curveball, 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 straight change. David Cone awaits his start on Friday night in Dallas. Should say in Arlington.
Runner at second, 1 out, 3 balls, 2 strikes on Roberto Kelly. Struck him out, 2 gone.
After all those breaking balls, talking about how Kelly was set up for the fastball, and that's what Wells went to. The heater on the inside corner, and he gets the call. Close pitch, front part of the plate. Good call by Jim Joyce.
And the reaction from Don Zimmer and Joe Torre, but the Rangers aren't finished, and Kelly's not happy. Rusty Greer. After Wells struck out his 9th of the night, Greer 1 out of 3. And more than capable of tying this game in the 8th. "16 home runs during the regular season. This Texas lineup just waiting to explode. The middle part of the lineup hasn't done much. This will be pitch number 133 of the night for David Wells. 1-1. David Wells high for 1998, 134 pitches. So Joe Torre is at the bitter end with David Wells.
One way or the other, you would have to assume that this is the last guy that David faces. If he gets Rusty Greer out, Mariano Rivera will be the pitcher to start the 9th. If Rusty gets a hit, Rivera will pitch to Gonzalez in the 8th.
Rusty Greer trying to come up with that 2-out RBI hit. And David Wells is about out of gas. 2-1.
Fastball tailing up and in. Puts the count in Greer's favor.
So uncharted waters for David Wells with regard to the pitch count. But it's Greer trying to get him to extend this top of the 8th. 2-0 New York. A check swing grounder. Jeter. Tough play.
What a great play by Derek Jeter.
The Rangers threaten, do not score, and David Wells through 8. Inside Yankee Stadium, game 1 of this division series. David Wells through 8 innings, and Todd Stottlemyre trying to follow suit. 2-0 New York, and Chuck Knobloch takes a strike. Todd Stottlemyre has pitched a wonderful ball game here tonight. Was helped by his defense early, but he has really settled in. He struck out 8. Wells has struck out 9. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The most recent help by his defense, however, was the best play of the night. Derek Jeter, keep in mind, he was playing extra deep a step or two with a runner on at second and 2 outs to knock a ball down that he couldn't get to. That's really what made that play the play it turned out to be.
Knobloch is jammed, and he pops it foul. Backing out of play.
He had so far to come for that broken bat little flare out toward shortstop, and then to put that much on his throw to first base is just remarkable. Here it is one more time, a check swing by Rusty Greer, and look how far Jeter has to come for that ball. Off balance throw. How he got that much on it, I don't know. Great play.
David Wells applauding the defensive effort there by Derek Jeter. We already pointed out that start late in the year in Baltimore. He quote-unquote showed up, Jeter, and then was not helped by Curtis and left. Boy, was he helped by Jeter, especially on a ball hit by Greer, with Gonzalez coming up in a 2-0 game in the 8th. That's how big that play was for New York. Wells likely finished for the night. 3-2 now on Knobloch. He's been hit by a pitch, been thrown out at the plate, struck out, flied out. Unless Rivera's ready to go, which could very well be the case. He's warmed up a couple of different times.
Yeah, he had a lot of time to get good and loose. It would be unusual for Wells to go back out there in the 9th inning unless he has told Joe Torre that he feels fine. That's why that pitch count is a nebulous thing. Some days guys are just stronger than other days. There's Rivera, so we'll see.
The other side for Stottlemyre, his 8th full count of the night, which can get the pitch count up, and he's 3-2 on Knobloch leading off. And Knobloch has his first hit of the night. And we'll see how much longer Johnny Oates sticks with Todd Stottlemyre. Probably not much longer. You get into Jeter, O'Neill, and Williams after this hit by Knobloch.
Hanging slider, middle of the plate, laced to center. One more look from our catcher cam. You can see it hang right over the fat part of the plate. Rodriguez going up to catch it, but you don't catch hangers. It'll be interesting to see what Joe Torre's does here. Do you play the bunt? Do you hit and run? One of those two, I would think.
The bunt, and Jeter took a strike. With O'Neill, Williams, and Martinez coming up after Jeter. Time could be running out on Todd Stottlemyre's night. We're in the 8th, and the Yankees lead by 2. Jeter lays down a perfect bunt. Sacrifice good 1-4, and down to second is Knobloch with one away. And now Paul O'Neill walks to the plate. And a visit from McLemore called for from the dugout.
But what Johnny Oates could do would be to bring in one of the left-handers. If you have success with O'Neill, walk Bernie Williams and then pitch to Tino Martinez. But right now, Johnny has not made a move. Dick Bosman is pitching coach. One of the more lethal clutch hitters in the game right here in Paul O'Neill.
Bosman on the phone to the bullpen. The bullpen is ready. They're just standing and watching now as O'Neill takes the ball low and away. Tony Fawcett, the left-hander. And now Gunderson looks like he's going to crank it up. But Johnny Oates prefers a tiring Todd Stottlemyre against Paul O'Neill as opposed to a fresh left-hander out of the bullpen. It's 2-0.
And there's no way that Stottlemyre can pitch around O'Neill because you have the switch-hitting Bernie Williams on deck. And here comes Dick Bosman to talk about it. You do not want to pitch around O'Neill and then be forced to pitch to Bernie Williams, who led the American League in hitting. I'm surprised the left-hander's not in the game right now.
I am too.
I really am. All things said, I mean, with all the pitches that he's thrown, you may pitch out of it. And certainly Stottlemyre with the guts to do it, but does he have the arm to do it? He has thrown a ton of pitches. 116. But again, facing a guy who eats right-handers alive. That's Paul O'Neill with 1 double to his credit already tonight.
It's also been an emotional night for Todd Stottlemyre. Johnny Oates telling us that he loves numbers. He has to be closing his eyes to those numbers as O'Neill takes a strike. 2-1. O'Neill with success in his past against Stottlemyre. Sticking with his starter here in the 8th inning. A leadoff hit, the sacrifice bunt, and now Stottlemyre behind on the count. 2-1 to O'Neill. Off the end of the bat, down the line. Greer is there. 2 away as Stottlemyre picks up a big out. And now Bernie Williams will walk in.
That was a nasty tailing fastball on the outside corner to O'Neill. Paul hit it off the end of the bat. So now if you pitch to O'Neill, you got to pitch to Bernie Williams. You could see the tailing fastball. Todd Stottlemyre. Perfect spot.
What an effort. What an effort tonight by Todd Stottlemyre. Now Bernie Williams with a runner at second, 2 out, and time called at the plate by Ivan Rodriguez. So important for Todd Stottlemyre to keep this a 2-run game. In the 9th inning, it will be Juan Gonzalez, Will Clark, and Ivan Rodriguez, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for Texas, as Stottlemyre tries to keep it 2-0. And he is giving every ounce of effort that he has here in this game 1 of the division series. Sherry Stottlemyre, the wife of Todd.
Mel Stottlemyre has to watch. Sherry doesn't.
Runner at second, 2 out. A ball outside to Bernie Williams. Sherry hoping and praying that Todd can get out of this spot. With a runner at second, 2 out. 1 ball, 1 strike.
To give you an idea of what Todd Stottlemyre has done tonight, the New York Yankees are 81-37 this year against right-handed starters.
Williams into left field, well hit, but Greer is back to get it. And the 4, 5, and 6 hitters, including Juan Gonzalez, will bat for Texas in the 9th. What an effort tonight by Stottlemyre. Gonzalez leads it off when we come back. We move into the 9th inning, and we give you our Dr. Pepper play of the game from catcher cam way back in the 1st. With Knobloch on, a double down the left field line by O'Neill. The relay from Greer to Clayton to Ivan Rodriguez, and the block of the plate, the tag of Knobloch, and that kept it a scoreless 1st inning. The only 2 runs of the night belong to the Yankees, scored in the second. The bottom of the order did the damage, and here's Mariano Rivera, who during the regular season saved 36.
And with John Wetland 2 years ago, Yankee fans certainly remember when it was a 6-inning game. Rivera came in for 2, Wetland for 1. He was infallible that season, but he's been fallible this year, and the Rangers know it.
Big guns coming up for Texas. Juan Gonzalez takes a high strike. 45 home runs during the regular season, but tonight a tap in front of the plate for an out back in the first, a strikeout and a foul out. David Wells hands it over to Rivera. One ball, one strike.
With a lot of pitchers, you try as a hitter to make him get the ball up. With Rivera, you try to make him get the ball down.
Mariano Rivera, a big reason why the Yankees 102-1 when leading after 8. The 1 compliments of the Texas Rangers. May 14th when Texas won in 13 innings, 7-5, and a home run by Rusty Greer.
That was after the Yankees took a 5-0 lead into the 8th inning.
One and 2 on Juan Gonzalez, first up here in the 9th. Gonzalez keeps it going.
Take a look at the scouting report on Mariano Rivera. Explosive high fastball, great movement. The ball is on top of you in a hurry, and the hitters, as we said, must make him get the ball down in order to be effective. That ball upstairs, you pop it up or swing through it.
Gonzalez is jammed, and a little fly ball into left. Chad Curtis, 1 out. Just a little note to keep in mind. This is the Yankees' 4th straight division series. In the prior 3, when they won the first game, they lost the series. Doing that in '95 against Seattle, they lost in 5. And doing it last year against Cleveland, they won game 1 8-6. And lost in 5 thrilling games to the Indians. They lost to Texas in game 1 in '96 and then went on to win 3 in a row to advance toward the World Series title. Broken bat flare off the bat of Will Clark, and the Rangers are down to their final out here in the 9th inning. At the end of tonight's game, Tim and I will be selecting the Chevy Truck Player of the Game. Two out, nobody on, and Ivan Rodriguez, the last chance for Texas here in game 1. He'll try to extend it with Zeal on deck. Miles per hour from Rivera. Texas down to its final strike of the night.
Right there will have you seeing red if you're a hitter.
An adrenaline surge from Rivera.
You've heard of chin music. That was a high note right there.
A ball and 2 strikes on Rodriguez. 2 out, nobody on, 9th inning. There's that high fastball, and Rodriguez able to at least get a piece to stay alive. A 135 pitch night for David Wells. He went 8, no runs, 5 hits, 9 strikeouts, a playoff career high. Now it's Rivera. Gonzalez flied out, Clark popped out, and it's 1-2 on Rodriguez. Mariano Rivera learned an awful lot in 1996 from John Wetland, who's now in the Texas bullpen. Rivera tries to save Game 1 of the 1998 Division Series with Texas. Game 1 to New York. David Wells is tonight's Chevy Truck Player of the Game. 8 innings, no runs, 5 hits, only 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, and a season high in pitches 135, and he needed every one of them.
A great game by David Wells, but particularly against the competition. The Texas Rangers, a very, very strong hitting team against left-handed pitching, but not tonight.
In the slug-it-out American League, Game 1 of this division series is a pitcher's duel. Great effort by Stottlemyre, even better by Wells. Back in a moment. 57,362 packed in to see a very well-pitched ball game in Game 1. 2-0 Yankees, and standing by with tonight's winning pitcher is Curt Menefee. Curt?
All right, David Wells here. 8 innings, 9 strikeouts. You said you like the ball in pressure situations, especially here at Yankee Stadium. You came through big tonight.
Well, you know, that's my game plan. And I was ready. I was pumped up for this game. And, you know, we got a house full of just crazy fanatics out there. And there ain't no better place to pitch when you get that kind of support behind you. You know, it just can't help you but gear up and go out there and just and throw strikes.
You always want to win Game 1 of a series, but having won 114 games, all eyes on the Yankees this year, was there even more pressure on you tonight?
No, you know, just the first batter, I just had a little bit of a jitters, but other than that, you know, I got focused, went out there and made some good pitches, got some great plays behind my defense. You know, we got 2 runs we needed, and you know, it's just exceptional. These guys were playing great all year, especially behind me and the rest of our pitching staff, and that just adds to, you know, to the great season that we've had so far.
You had the perfect game this year. You started the All-Star game. How does this win rank up with those?
Oh, right on the tops, man. When we get into this situation, playoffs, it ain't nothing better. You know, I want the ball. You know, I want the excitement. I want the chance to win and to lose it. And tonight was the opportunity where we had to win. Mo came in and shut him down in the 9th, and victorious for us.
All right, thanks a lot, Boomer.
Right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
David Wells, the winning pitcher tonight. Back to you, Joe Buck.
All right, Curt Menefee, thanks for your help all night. Congratulations to David Wells and the Yankees. A 2-0 win in Game 1. Rivera the save. Don't forget, National League Division Series Game 2. The Cubs at Atlanta, Thursday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. So for Tim McCarver, I'm Joe Buck saying so long from New York with a final score in Game 1, 2-0 New York Yankees. Chip Carey, Steve Lyons will be along with more Division Series highlights after these messages from all of us at Yankee Stadium in New York, the Bronx. A 2-0 win for David Wells, the Boomer, and the Yankees. Good night from New York.